Welcome back to the Weaving Magick Podcast. I am your host, Tara Webb, and I'm super
And
excited.
I'm your host, Alyssa Lily. Are we bringing in the enthusiasm today?
We are. Because we haven't been on a podcast recording.
We haven't talked, really.
Talked.
They've seen each other.
Alyssa has a new job. My husband went back to work. And so, we're recording at night. And we typically like to record during the day. So, doing what we can with that.
Yeah.
It's my lighting off, but it's okay. It's fine.
Oh, my goodness. I've missed recording. It's been too long.
Yeah.
I feel.
So
I know you as a listener probably don't really feel it because we've still been releasing episodes. But I mean, how long has it been since we recorded?
I don't know. I think it's been like a month or two.
Yeah, wild.
Like maybe longer because we had in between where it was just Alyssa's episode and then my episode, and
Yeah, we did a few solo episodes, so it's been a hot minute. I miss your energy.
Yeah. So Alyssa, what's been going on with you?
Oh, I know you want to talk about this.
I do.
So everything is breaking consistently.
Well, everything was breaking. We're gonna.
Yeah, let's rephrase. We don't want to call that back in.
Yeah.
Everything in
Loki will be like, okay.
Okay, yeah. I definitely. Every time it happens, I hear Loki giggle, and it's funny because I've had a lot of resistance. That's not the right word I want to use. I've had a lot of
Hesitancy?
I have had a lot of fear and scarcity around money recently.
Yeah.
And I keep telling myself to trust, and the universe would send a check, like a random, I don't even remember what it was. We got a random check from, I think we paid too much on our, on something. Oh, Sean's vasectomy. We paid too much.
$2,000? $1,000?
That one was like $800, and then there was another check that came in. I think we paid like too much on our insurance or something, and it was like $2,000 or something like that. And so the universe was just like, trust.
Thought you had taken all of your money out from your other retirement or something like that, and had that come in too.
Yes, which has been a lifesaver and has given me so much time, and I'm very grateful. I, ended up finding out I had stuff left in my pension that I didn't know that I had even when I retired from the corporate world. And after all of that happened, everything started breaking. My car broke down. We had to put like $1,500 in my car. My futon frame that we've had, I mean, it's old. It was time. It had served its life, but it broke just randomly. We're just sitting there and it just like literally fell to the ground while we were all sitting on it. Like, okay.
You also had a spider fall on your face.
I had a spider while I was sleeping. Yeah. That happened. That was lovely. Let me tell you, my husband and this was after my futon frame broke, and because of my bad back, I couldn't go sleep in another bed. So Sean was amazing and switched sides with me. I have lost quite a few things. I'm trying to think. I feel like something else broke too.
I feel like it was a counter or like something in your house broke.
Yeah. Oh, my coffee pot.
That's what it was.
My coffee pot that I use every day. But I have a new coffee pot now. It was just time to freshen things up. My car drives great now. I have a great coffee pot.
And I will say that it all stopped when Alyssa's back broke, basically. Like when it like almost shattered Alyssa into two in some ways when Lincoln jumped on you.
Oh, that happened too. Yeah, so it physically broke.
Like, all of this was building because your body was actually healing really, really well.
Yeah, I started being able to like do full workouts. Yeah, Lincoln did what did he do? My bed is really high up because once again, I have a bad back and I need to be able to climb into my bed.
Oh, but that didn't jumped with that.
Oh.
My bed is really
well, I mean, it does serve many great purposes. Anyways, Lincoln jumped up off of it and double kneed me in the back when I was laying on the ground helping Aurora with something. And so I've been navigating that. And then I have a new job that I will be getting soon, potentially. I'm going through background check and stuff right now. And I had to get a COVID and flu shot because I have to like give a full, I mean, it's for in the health industry.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the flu and COVID shot at the same time, and it
Oh,
literally knocked me out. This is my
that
first day that
sounds
I felt great.
so because it's both of them at the same
Yeah,
time.
God. And
Oh.
I haven't had, like, I don't get the flu shot
Yeah.
because every time I get it, I get really sick. And doctors tell me, everybody tells me that it shouldn't be getting you sick, but my immune system literally overreacts when I do these things. And every time I get a cold sore, every time I get, sick in some way, but this was the worst. I was down for, I mean, it's Thursday, so like 3 days. I had fever, shakes, not able to eat. I lost 8 pounds in the last 3 days, which is not healthy. Not the way you want to lose weight.
You got it Sunday, right?
Yeah, I got it Sunday
Yeah,
night
4
and it's
days.
Thursday. Huh?
4 days.
Oh, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and I feel better today.
Oh, you feel better today. Okay, I thought you were saying
Yeah,
that
I mean, I'm not 100%, but I can eat. I haven't had a headache. I just a little stuffy, It's fine.
I've never
But we
heard
know
you say that word before that way.
What word?
Headache?
How did I say it?
You said headache, and I've never heard you say that way before.
How do I say it?
I say
Have
headache.
I ever?
And you said headache.
Have I ever said it out loud to you? Have we just texted the
know.
word?
No, you said headache. And I was like, this is interesting.
Headache. Yeah, that's how I say it. Now that I'm listening, I'm like, that's not right, but it's fine. We'll just blame it on me being stuffy. It's fine.
Well, that ties into
channeling my what is
orange?
this? Solar plexus energy.
Yeah. I was giving Dominic a placement test to see if I needed to add any more reading stuff to him. And he does, because he's really good with reading. He reads so much. He's one of those kids that just learned how to read. Like, I taught him, obviously, some, but there was one day when he was, struggling a little bit, and then one day, and he was done. He kind of knew words.
Yeah.
And so I still wanted to quiz him to see if, he needed extra things. And it's on level 4 of this reading program that we use. And he knew a lot of the words, but there's a few that had the French words that that came from French.
The end in the ET.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the one was bouquet, and he kept going, bonqui, bon.
That's very French of him.
Banquet. And he even goes, it's flowers. It has to do with flowers. And he knew what it had to do with. And the closest he got was bouquet. And I was like, okay, it's bouquet. I'll give it to you.
We'll take it.
Yeah. But I did realize he needed some more training with, reading certain things. It was just so cute. And I kept laughing. And I was like, I'm not laughing at you. You're just adorable at how you're saying it. But it's funny how we say
it. It's so adorable. I know it. And my brain still does it sometimes when I'm reading. There's so many, what Ehlers Danlos syndrome, EDS. I've only ever seen it written down. It's a connective tissue disorder kind of thing, like hypermobility.
Oh.
Yeah, and I've seen it written down because I've been doing research in it. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with my body kind of thing. And I said it out loud for the first time today, and just like I did now, I stumbled the crap over it. Yeah. I'm like, I need to figure out how you say this because I've only ever seen it written.
I mean, even when I read for school for the boys, I'm reading Greek mythology, and the words aren't that difficult. But reading aloud is different than reading in your head.
It really is.
You stumble over things because you think you know things faster, your brain's moving faster, or it just, yeah.
I feel like when I read out loud, it's a mixture of I have dyslexia, so my brain will mix up words and I'll say things backwards, or my brain reads too fast and my mouth can't keep up.
Yeah. And that's why they say whenever you're writing a book or actually when you're also, doing theater, to read your stuff aloud, especially, when you're practicing your lines, because you actually hear how they're supposed to sound. So when you're reading a book,
writing a book is interesting though, because I've learned a lot reading some stuff from you, and I've been reading some stuff from other people who are about to publish books, and it's fascinating how grammar doesn't matter in a lot of instances because you're writing how you want it to be heard versus being grammatically correct or felt, and it's very different.
While also certain times when grammar does really matter, it's like a weird mix.
It's a fine line. It's a very fine line.
It is.
I need to know what you were going to tell me about breaking things.
You're back. That's what I was going to tell you.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Remind me of my back. We'll get better. I'm discovering a lot of things. Actually,
you are getting a little better, aren't you?
I am, but I'm still recovering from Lincoln jumping on my back, and I
Yeah.
haven't been able to. And I've also just got hit with these shots, and just
Yeah.
haven't been able to catch a break. But I just reconnected with one of my sisters today. I forgot to tell you about this, so you don't. This is fresh news. And one thing that's funny is my niece, who I haven't seen in over a decade. My sister sent me a picture of her, and she's so cute and is almost identical to Aurora. It is
Aww.
wild. Like, sent like a picture of her when she's younger, or I saw it on TikTok or something. Anyways, they look identical, and it's freaking wild. And it was nice to reconnect. And I found out, I don't know how this is related. I'm just going on a tangent. I guess I need to talk about this, but she's going through the process of dealing with trauma and cutting people out. And I'm like, okay, I'm here for you. I would love to reconnect. And it was really nice.
I mean, this is kind of the time of cutting people out, or like
it really is
salvaging relationships, or like figuring out how to handle relationships. I mean, I have one that I've been working on and figuring out as well. It's just, there's the energies are all about resolution in some way, either with the person or cutting them out or just whatever.
Well, and I also feel like it's this weird, and this is why Loki is so loud for me right now. I feel like we're in this state of chaotic energy, and he is thriving right now. Loki is, I think we have having eclipse. The time of his life.
We have an eclipse Saturday, I think, is what my friend said.
Yes. And this chaotic energy, it's about finding yourself in the calm of the chaos and figuring out what you want. So it's like the situation that you're dealing with cutting people out. It's like everything is building to this climax, and then it's that tipping point, and you are driving the carriage, right? You are deciding which way you want to go, kind of like the Chariot tarot card is what it makes me think of this. All of this is climactic stuff is coming up so that you can make a decision of how you want to respond. If you haven't made a decision yet, the universe is going to throw it in your face right now and make you make a decision.
Because I realized there are no shoulds. Like, people say you should respond, you shouldn't respond, whatever. And it basically is just, how do you feel? What do you want to do? There's no right or wrong answer to it.
And it's going to keep coming up until you figure it out.
I mean, it was funny because the situation was basically like non-existent for a few weeks. And then my therapist asked me a question about it. I was like, oh, it's fine. Literally that day, multiple things happened. Which is hilarious, because the universe is like, you're going to handle this one way or the other. You're going to speak your truth. So
also, let's talk about how you've worked with spiders for so long, and all of a sudden they're coming after me.
Yeah. Spiders and I are kind of okay. I killed one yesterday or the day before.
Oh no. Wait, is this a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know whether to be sad or happy for you.
I don't know. I think it's a good thing, because I have felt a lot of guilt around doing so, and almost a fear of doing so, right? Oh no, what's going to happen if I kill the spider, right?
Versus, oh no, I'm scared of the spider.
Yes. So it's like, I almost like, what's the retribution from doing so, right? And now it was
almost just like you've built the reverence, right? The respect for the spider, and you're taking that pause.
Now, yeah. But I mean, killing it, while it wasn't great, I also, it was, in the bathroom, like in a corner, and it was near Aurelius's potty. And so it was like, there was multiple instances, and like, there was like just stuff going on. I think this was the day which was yesterday, where I had mopped the floor. Oh, I didn't even mention this part to you. That was the other part of it. I'd mopped the floor yesterday. Like, when at my house, you have to sweep, vacuum the hard floor, and then mop it, because there's still all this extra dog hair and dirt, and it's wild. For then Aurelius to also like just pee all over the bathroom floor, like a huge puddle. I think because he was trying to get to the potty, but it didn't really work. So that was like on top of everything else that I had mentioned to Alyssa. And so I think it was just in that instance also with the spider. It was just like, I don't have time for this today.
I love you, but I can't.
No. Yeah, it was that day, because I remember sweeping it up afterwards. So sad.
I know, I haven't heard you called Aurelius in a very long time.
It's funny because I'll be like, we sing a song that says, it depends on who it is. If we go, Callisto, Callisto, mommy loves Callisto. And he loves it when you go, Ori loves Callisto. And so he'll go, Ori, Ori, and like point to himself. And it's so freaking cute. And I'm
Oh.
go, Aurelius, Ori, Ori. I love it.
Oh, but he did say his name when you Marco'd me, and it was really cute.
He says Ori, and I love how he says it too. No, and I feel like when I'm talking to other people, I will use full names. It's like in my book, when they're talking to each other, they use the Seb, Ash, that kind of thing.
Oh,
But
yeah, that's something that I noticed. Like, when
when
do
it's,
you use the nickname versus the full name?
and then like if it's saying, I can't believe she said that to you, Ashlyn said. I will never say Ash said. And so when I'm talking to somebody who doesn't know the kids, for example, on this podcast, I'll say Dominic and Thomas and, Aurelius versus their nicknames.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Very specific things. I also broke my bowl yesterday. I think I told you that.
Hopefully, I'm not contagious.
I think all of our stuff is finally ended because our stuff was just a lot of money issue things of like scam stuff that Justin kept getting hit with.
Yeah.
I think those are all resolved now.
That was a lesson he needed to learn.
It was a big lesson. He wanted this couch and it was a scam and he didn't realize it. And it was like an obvious scam, but he full force went into it hard. Was like, nope, I'm gonna. Cause not that he realized it and still did it.
Well, I mean, sometimes when you get excited for something, you just you put the blinders up. I mean, how many times have any one of us done that in a relationship where we see the red flags and we just do this because we really want it?
But it was nice because we ended up buying a couch that he wants, that he's kind of wanted for a while, and so that was nice to like actually be able to get that versus one that was like maybe used but not really used, and you don't really know, and all this kind of stuff. So,
How have you? Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
How have you been weaving magic recently? We haven't talked about that in a while.
Oh, by embroidering, I'd say, and making little crafts in my house, like the moss mirror that I made.
Oh, we need to post that on Instagram so you guys can see it. It is the cutest thing ever.
It's really pretty, and it has little mushrooms that light up as a light around it. And I've been embroidering different kinds of mushrooms that are going to go, like, and the circles are going to go around the mirror. And this mirror is from my mom. I don't know if it's from my grandmother as well, but it was my mom's mirror. And then I'm going to make like 2, maybe more moss panels that also go on the wall with it. So basically just making my house feel like more magical and more of what I want. I got a deep purple chair that's going to like really blend with my curtains that are, more of this amalgamation of colors, I guess. And so it's just, I would say it would be being present with the embroidery and
very cottagecore.
Yeah, and also just taking it day by day with the kids, doing school with them and going each day. And, there are really, really difficult days. And then realizing is that those days are difficult, not like my life is difficult. This is awful, or even that moment. Because I think yesterday, there was a lot of good yesterday. The night before yesterday, I got a good amount of sleep. I got like 7 hours straight because Callisto did not wake up at all.
Which is amazing. We celebrate that.
He's 3 months old. And I'm trying to think. It started off really good. I was talking to Alyssa and I was like, they're like, you have a lot of energy.
I know. I talked to you and you had a lot of energy, and then you called me today and you're like, I was like, what happened?
The day was rough. But like it was still a really good day because a lot still happened, but it was just rough. Whereas last night, I barely got sleep because Callisto kept waking up constantly, no matter how like he shifted or whatever. So it's just funny. And then I leave tomorrow morning for a weekend getaway with my high school best friend, and we're gonna do some writing, and we'll see what else. Maybe reading and stuff. But my goal is to get a lot of book 3 done. So there's a lot of answers to that question, because I feel like
I
also
was
with,
gonna say, I feel like you've been weaving a lot of magic into your book recently too. I feel like you've been making
well,
more
and
space to
I'm glad that
write.
you pointed this out of like, what I've been doing to weave magic, because I was actually thinking today of how sad I was that I haven't been doing rituals and things like that with the boys, but also a lot of what we've been doing is still magical. I got a bike so that I can bike with them, and Justin's buying his bike now, so we can go on
Your
family bike
matching
trips.
bikes.
He's actually getting a different one because he actually rode my bike. Mine has like the swoop to it, on the I don't know what you call that, the inside area, and I have it's really cute. I have Aurelius's like little seat to where he can like have his little pedals and his handle, and he's right there in front of me. But my legs are like a little cattywampus. They're a little spread out. So Justin tried it, and he was like, "This is awful." I was like, "Yeah, I know." I know. So he's like, I don't like it. And I was like, well, that's good. So he actually got a different bike. I don't know if anybody listening has ever had that feeling of like you get something and like a friend of yours gets something, or whether it's food or a phone or whatever, right? And you're like, oh, you got the same one. Oh, yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's not the same with like
I don't know. I've
friends.
never. It's funny because this keeps coming up. So Sean, I know we talked about this recently. Sean, like, when we go to a restaurant to eat, no two people, whether you're sharing food or not, no two people can get the same dish because you have to have as much variety at the table as
But
possible.
I wonder if it's just with our
And
partner then.
I don't know. I don't mind having matching
Yeah.
things. It doesn't bother me.
Well, it's different because if I were with you, I wouldn't care. If you and I had matching bikes, it's not a big deal.
But you and
But with
Justin,
Justin,
you guys share too much together. You can't have
maybe,
matching
or maybe because
bikes.
we constantly be writing it together, or maybe
Yeah.
because, and this is like awful stereotypical of my bike looks more feminine, but also it said lady bike.
Oh, and a lot of that is really ingrained too,
It
of just like,
is.
ooh, this grates, and I don't know why.
Mhm. Um, but it was also, I think, if he'd gotten the same bike as me, which I wouldn't have cared if it were a different color. So I think it's just with him. Like if him and I get the same things, it's like that's cool. I
F
would
you,
prefer
bro.
not. Yeah, I would prefer not to. So, how have you been weaving magic?
As I get my nose. One moment. I have a little bit of a stuffy nose today, guys. I've been weaving magic. I was thinking about this before we were recording, and I had the same feeling you did. It felt like I haven't been really magical recently, but I have. And for me, it's been refinding my joy in a lot of ways.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I got this new job. I'm re-entering, like dipping my toe back into corporate world, and it feels monotonous. It feels draining, even though it's something super easy that's not supposed to feel that way. And so I feel like when you work jobs like that, you're doing the same thing every day, it all just blends together and feels
Yeah.
very bland. And so I've been really working on stepping away. I work a job where I can, do things and get stuff done and step away and do things. And I forget that I can do that because I've been so ingrained 9 to 5, 9 to 5. And anytime Aurora comes into my office, I will walk out with her and I'll play with the kids for a minute. We'll chase each other around. And I love how we've been incorporating. I've really struggled with this, but I finally have found little games and things that we've made up that both of my kids will play together and take turns. And it's really cute. They haven't really engaged with each other until recently. And usually it's not in a positive way. Usually it's Lincoln
Mm-hmm.
shoving Aurora into a bookcase on accident and her mouth bleeding or something crazy. But it's been nice because we've been taking turns tickling each other's bellies and doing pillow fights and just different things. And it's been magical watching their relationship flourish finally, and fostering that. I've been
Mm-hmm.
pulling cards more recently, which has been reigniting my love of magic and reminding myself how magical I am, even though I don't need the cards. I forgot how much I missed pulling tarot cards. I used to do it every day, sometimes twice a day, depending on what was going on. And I have been on a huge kick of crafting, which I've had a hard time getting into for the longest time, because I feel like every time I would sit and craft, it wouldn't bring me joy anymore. And I thought I'd lost my joy of creating. And now I've just got this random, I can't think of
the same craft that you thought you lost joy in, or is it a different craft?
Same crafts. I used to crochet all the time. Now knitting is new. I used to crochet all the time as a kid, and I just stopped. And I always felt like the projects that I made wasn't artsy enough, and I wasn't the artsy cool kid that I always wanted to be. And I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of stories I've told myself around what I create, it not being good enough. And I think I've just moved past that. And now I don't know how to say it. Is it amigururu? It's another word I've seen written down. I've not said it out loud. It's crocheted little stuffed animals, and they're like little chibis, and they're so cute. And so I'm making everyone's Christmas gifts right now, and it has brought me so much joy. I wish I had one nearby that I could show you guys, but Aurora has stolen them all.
She loves them.
But I've been making, little jellyfish and mushrooms, and I have a hat that I'm knitting right now. I have some yarn cakes that I hand rolled myself. So yarn sometimes
really cool to me.
Yeah. So sometimes yarn, I didn't realize this, yarn comes in skeins, which are like these twisted braided things.
Is
and you
that
have
how
to
you say
actually skeins. Yeah, I think so.
I would have said
and
skeins. That's what I've always said.
said what?
Skeins. Because it's an
Skeins?
SKEIN.
I'm pretty sure it's skeins. I don't know how confident I am in that. I could be wrong. But I didn't realize that you have to manually roll it in order to use it. And so I had a bunch of skeins, and my friend was like, oh, I have a little machine that you put the skein on and it will roll little, and these are called yarn cakes, which is beautiful and cute. If you look at YouTube, if you want to see what they look like. But
I would just use them from the skein.
But the skein doesn't unravel like it.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't. Not like.
Yeah, it's very difficult. Yeah, so that's similar to the thread that I've been using for.
The floss.
Embroidery.
Embroidery floss.
Yeah. So I've been actually getting the little plastic little white things and wrapping them around that. And so it's like a cake, but not really a cake for this.
Like why does it just come where you can use it? Now my friend's really big into knitting, and she is telling me that yarn and threads last longer when they're in the skeins versus when they're in like these cakes.
Oh, because that's so tight?
I don't know. I guess so.
The tightness of it loosens it or something?
Yeah, I guess it's a storage thing. But anyways, I found it was so fun being able to roll these myself with these little machines.
Side note, that is harder and tougher. So it takes up more space versus the things that are just flat and you can just stack them on. Because that has less air inside of it.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, so I don't know, same as you. I've just been weaving magic in different ways. I'm also, I know, twin flames, we're always twinning it over here. I've made a Pinterest board of what I want to decorate my room in. My room is the one room I've just never decorated. I don't know why. It's the last thing I think of, but also I think it's really important.
Maybe because you're not in there very often?
But I am.
Are you?
I'm in there a lot. I mean, that's where we spend our evenings. And I would like to, like, my room is huge. I'd love to have a little reading corner, and I would love to spend more time up there. But my room's always a mess. That's where things always get thrown. It always feels chaotic. I don't sleep well, and I want it to feel more cozy. So I've created a Pinterest board that's very fairy cottage core, and planning and getting into mischief with my friend Cass of how we could go to the store and bargain shop and look for things and put it together. Decorating has always intimidated me. I finally started decorating around my house, decorated my daughter's room, but looking at empty walls and having all.
It's this feeling of like you have to do it a certain way.
Or I don't know. I feel like when I do decorate sometimes and I look at it when I'm done, it just doesn't feel like it goes together. It doesn't feel right. And I don't know how to get past that.
Did you make a color palette?
For
Your house, your room?
I mean, no. I mean, I just did the Pinterest board. I
So
know
if you
the
make a
color
color
palette of
palette,
my life.
yeah, but if you make a specific color palette either for the room or for your house, you'll know like, hey, this is what I'm buying and this is how it all looks good together and stuff.
I mean, that's how my downstairs. So my downstairs color palette is shocker, teal and orange. Um,
Hmm.
and I have all these things that go together. It just still feels like there's things missing, and I haven't quite put my finger on it. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I'll say the other way that we've kind of been weaving magic is through bread. I bought a sourdough bread maker thing to kind of help with making homemade
Oh, did
sourdough
it come
bread.
in? Did the starter come in?
It comes in a few days. We've also been making pumpkin bread that we'll have to share the recipe that I've had this recipe for years, and Alyssa and I kind of whenever they were
We've
here,
been making it nonstop.
yeah, we adjusted the recipe because it calls for gosh, what a cup and a half of pumpkin,
Yeah,
um,
something crazy like
and
that.
it makes it too moist, and so we've adjusted it kind of to have
And
enough.
we both like it differently, which I think is hilarious because you like 3/4 cup
Well,
pumpkin.
I like it that way because that's how Thomas was eating it. Because if it's
Oh.
too moist, he won't eat it. But then again, this last time he wouldn't even try it. So I don't know.
I like mine
It's
at a cup. I feel like that's a perfect. A cup and a half is just it's
it's a
mush.
lot.
It's like the inside of a pumpkin pie. I'm like, that's not what I want
Yeah,
in a
yeah.
muffin.
And then if you try to cook it for too long to make sure it's not too soft, it feels like it's burned on the bottom or something.
Also, I just want to celebrate myself, and I don't know if you've experienced this of just how far I've come in cooking because I feel
Yeah.
like I used to be really intimidated to deviate from recipes or scared to just throw things together. And I find myself now, I just cook. Like, oh, I have all these things. I'm just going to throw it together and see what happens and hope it's good.
Yeah, I've come to the realization that I'm just gonna make food and the kids are just gonna eat it.
Yeah.
Because I just
Well,
got
I
so
would.
bored and
I'm
so sick.
trying to get to that point. My kids will literally just starve themselves. I haven't quite mastered their palate.
Kids don't have a palate. That's what I've learned.
I feel like my kids will have a favorite food and that is all they'll want until they don't want it anymore and then you have to try to figure out and guess what their next favorite food is.
Yeah. I mean, for mine, I don't like forcing them to eat, but in some ways, like for example, Elias forgets to eat as part of the ADHD thing. And
Yeah.
so at some point, I'm like, hey, you will eat this food. It may not be what you want, but you will eat it. And also, you
Yeah.
have to have vegetables. But I also do like, here's how many bites of this too, or when you're done with this, you can have whatever you want. So we have those negotiation parts as well. Like tonight, he wasn't crazy about what we had, even though I thought it was pretty good. Um, and so it was basically like, okay, you need to finish 4 more bites of your noodles and stuff. And they had peas in them. And I'm not a fan of green peas. I don't like green peas. And I was like, boys, I don't even like green peas. And I'm going to eat them because I need them and you need them too. So just, Thomas is like, I have 13. How many of these 13 should I eat? I think we
What a
got him,
brilliant question.
no, I think I got him to like 8. I think I was like, okay,
Hey, that's
that's,
impressive.
it
Yeah.
is. Um, so like I force them to eat it, but also like not excessively. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like you will eat all of this and be miserable. But it depends. I mean, all the kids are so different in things. And having 5 kids, only 4 of them eat what I make right now. But I can't make different things for everybody. So
Nope. Well, and I'm starting to because I'm trying to figure out what triggers are for my back pain that has now turned into full body pain in a lot of ways. I have a hunch that there may be a culprit, such
hunch, like
as
the hunch.
dairy or gluten. Huh?
I said hunch isn't like a hunch of your
What'd you
back.
say? Lol. Unintended pun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there may be some dietary things that are
Yeah.
causing inflammation that
Hmm.
I need to cut out, which means experimenting and relearning how to cook because
I think
something like gluten.
paleo would be really good for you for a while.
Oh, I've done paleo. I'm not a fan.
Yeah, but I mean,
I just
it would help the inflammation go down because of like a lot of the foods are. are less of, the things that would inflame your body. So then you could start putting them in and see.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm revving myself up and starting to do, I want to start researching, because I mean, I know how to cook the things, but I want to start like getting a thing of inspiration, because my thing with changing my diet like that is transitioning how I cook. Feels like a lot. It's really not. It's really simple.
Yeah,
If I feel overwhelmed,
because sometimes you can just put cheese in something. If you're cutting out cheese, you're like,
I cook everything with cheese.
Yeah,
I cook a lot of things. Now, I will say I don't drink a lot of milk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do a lot of dairy and pastas. I made lasagna. That's what we had for dinner tonight.
Anybody listening, one of the best things to substitute for pasta, like as far as like wheat pasta or whatever, is one, actually, you could try to make your own. That would be interesting. I want to try that at some point, is to make my own pasta.
Yeah.
But two is rice pasta is a really good one, because it's less.
I love rice pasta.
Yeah, that's one of the ones that is less sticky. Like if you get lentil pasta and all that kind of stuff, I feel like it just clumps up and it's just doesn't really work as well.
Oh, and I forget what it's called. There's these amazing noodles, and my friend Cass is gluten, dairy, and corn free, which is the sweet potato noodles. But there's a name for them, and I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, they're an Asian culture,
but they're so delicious. And so stir fries usually go to for me, which
is it glass great. Noodles?
Yes, it is glass. Yeah. That's right, glass noodles. So rice noodles and glass noodles are definitely a signature in my house.
Yeah.
Which is easy to do, gluten-free and dairy-free and all the free things.
One thing you could do is also, whenever you go gluten-free, for anybody, is sourdough bread. That's really, really good, especially if you use einkorn flour. Einkorn is an ancient grain that comes before wheat and all that kind of stuff, and it's actually really good for you.
You're very nutritious. I also I don't know if it's gluten-free. I haven't looked, but I really love farro too. I love mixing rice and farro together.
And couscous.
Which is another ancient grain. Ooh, couscous is good too. Yeah.
So, the challenge for this week is to come back to your joy, whether that's your joy of cooking, your joy of crafting, your joy of being in nature. Find something that you feel like you've kind of been lacking in, and come back to your joy of it. And we'll share our projects, like Alyssa's skeins.
Skeins.
My mirror, my bike, the pumpkin recipe. Like, we'll share a lot of things of how our joy has been impacted by everything. So
I want to say a caveat to that, because I know it's a time of holidays and seasonal depression, and just there's a lot of emotions that come up during the holidays, and coming back to your joy can be difficult. And when you start to do these things, and this is something that I was experiencing, I started to knit and crochet, and I would start to do it, and I wouldn't feel the joy. I wouldn't feel the spark. Really commit to it. Try to finish one project. Just one thing.
Also ask yourself why, because I feel like, Alyssa, for you, with the crocheting, it was tied to your childhood.
Yes, there was a lot of unpacking to do.
Yeah, and so why does this no longer bring you joy? And diving into that can also help release a lot of the trauma, a lot of the resentment or hesitation around it again.
Yeah. Always work to do. This concludes another episode of our Weaving Magick podcast.
We release one episode a week, so be sure to subscribe to catch the latest episode as soon as it releases. You can find us on Instagram at Weaving Magick Podcast. That's Weaving Magick, Magick Podcast.
We would also love it if you could leave us a review. If you do, make sure to email us your review so we can send you a thank you gift. Thank you so much for joining us, and don't forget to find a way to weave magic into your daily life.